Since day one, Nico Harrison has worked tirelessly to build this team into a championship contending team. Whether or not you liked any of the trades, the signings, or the re-signings of certain players, everything Nico Harrison has done led us to an NBA Finals trip. But it's more than just making the finals. We want to win the finals. And even though we went to free agency with very little draft capital and even less trade assets, Nico Harrison was still able to flip those players and picks to get Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, and Najee Marshall. But unfortunately, we weren't able to keep Derrick Jones Jr. We saw him sign with the Los Angeles Clippers for 3 years, $30 million. But we have news and reports showing exactly what happened between Derrick Jones Jr. and the Dallas Mavericks and why he chose to go with the Clippers. So in this video, we're going to break down all the reports. We're going to take a deep dive into why he chose to go with the Clippers instead of the Mavericks and what direction Nico Harrison decided to do instead, and was that the right move? But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with this video, I just want to thank you guys so much for showing love in the last few videos. They've been going crazy. And I just want to say right now, we are so close to 12,000 subscribers, which is insane. A little bit under 300 subs to go. So if you're not subscribed, but you want to be up to date on everything that the Mavericks do, make sure you hit that sub button. It's the off season, but it's not my off season. I'm bringing you content every single day, maybe even twice a day. And if you hit that sub button, I'd appreciate it greatly. But like I said in the intro, Nico Harrison has been working tirelessly since day one to make this team into a championship contending team, getting trades, signing players, re-signing players. And even if some of those players didn't work out, maybe some moves weren't the best moves, he doesn't sit on those bad moves. He quickly flips it. At the perfect example, last season, we went and got Grant Williams. And then at the trade deadline of that same season, we went and got PJ Washington by flipping Grant Williams. Nico Harrison is a master at negotiations, able to make trades with multiple teams, multiple times that really do benefit the Dallas Mavericks with very little downside. But one player we weren't able to retain was Derrick Jones Jr., who we all know was just an amazing asset for this team. We picked him up with our last roster slot last year, and he worked his way through the ranks coming off the bench and then coming up as a starter once when Josh Green was hurt, and just really impressed fans, really showed the basketball world what he brings to a team like the Dallas Mavericks. His three-point shooting got a lot better on our team. His defense definitely improved while being a Dallas Maverick, being one of our, what everyone's saying, our best point of attack defender. Derrick Jones Jr. does deserve his contract. I will say that right now. 3 years, $30 million. He does deserve that. I think that's his biggest contract that he's ever gotten. And he worked hard for it. He did great in the playoffs defending Paul George, Kawhi Leonard for those few games, James Harden in the second round guarding whoever we needed him to guard against the Thunder. And in the third round against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he wasn't afraid to guard anybody. And in the finals, his defense was still good even though we did lose to the Celtics. Derrick Jones Jr. definitely showed off in the playoffs and definitely earned that contract. But unfortunately, like I said, the Dallas Mavericks weren't able to bring him back. We quickly signed Najee Marshall before the news even broke out that Derrick Jones Jr. signed with the Clippers. But if we take a look right here, saying Tim Cato on the Only Mavericks podcast said that the Mavericks had a standing offer to Derrick Jones Jr., the same $27 million for 3-year deal that Najee signed. Then shortly before free agency, he changed agencies to Clutch Sports. And as we reported on this channel, Derrick Jones Jr., he did switch agencies to Clutch Sports. And a lot of people were worried because we all know what Clutch does for their clients. They really try to just maximize their dollars. They negotiate hardball. I mean, it's LeBron James' agent. So, of course, everyone feels like they're going to get LeBron James money if you're being represented by his own agency. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out that well for the Dallas Mavericks. And like it says right here, we offered him $27 million 3-year deal, which I think is a good offer. And if you really want to break it down, taking 3 years, $30 million to play in California, you're kind of taking a pay cut. You're actually taking less money if you really think about it, because half of your games are home games in LA. You also have to play against the Lakers, against the Warriors, and the Sacramento Kings. I think only maybe less than 30, maybe less than 20 games will he play in states where there's no income tax. So 3 years, $30 million doesn't go as far in California as 3 years, $27 million does in Texas. But unfortunately, it just didn't pan out the way that we wanted to. But we do have some sneaky reports right here saying DJJ wanted the full NTMLE. Change agents to negotiate more. Clutch also wanted to delay. Mavs were not waiting on Derrick Jones Jr. and wanted to focus on the Klay trade. Pivoted to Najee as quickly as they did. Alpha move by Nico. And I have to agree, that was an alpha move. There were reports and rumors before we even signed Najee that if we couldn't get Derrick Jones Jr., that we were going to pivot over to Najee Marshall, which we did end up doing. But we were really convinced that Derrick Jones Jr. was going to come back. I mean, we saw him say how he wants to be here. He gave us some memorable quotes talking about, "I fear no man but God. I'm ready to go to war." The vibes were immaculate. The chemistry was flowing. We love Derrick Jones Jr. We love Flight 55, and we really didn't want to see him go. But when you change agencies, I mean, when you change representation, there's about a 2-week period where you can't really sign a deal. So whatever deal he got from the Clippers, it's more of like a handshake deal. It's more of just a verbal agreement, and that nothing can be signed until, I want to say, July 6th. But I know because he changed representation, he has to wait the full 14 days. So that $27 million offer for 3 years that we gave him was more like, hey, you played well for us. This is what we can offer you when you can sign it. Do you want to do this? And obviously, switch over to Clutch, he wanted to maximize his dollars. And I've got a little sneaky suspicion that the reason why he did this was because he actually admitted that he was offered more money to go play for the Boston Celtics. And then you choose to take less money to go to the Dallas Mavericks. You make it to the finals and then lose to the team that offers you more money. And even though you played very well, at least played above your norm, you wanted to get paid. You wanted to feel compensated. So that's what I believe happened. Because we lost to the Boston Celtics, who did offer more money, he wanted to make sure that he went to free agency just maximizing his dollars. But unfortunately, that just doesn't work for Nico Harrison. I feel like if this was the old GM situation, we would be like, okay, yeah, no, we'll wait. You want to delay it? We'll wait. And we would have missed out on a bunch of other signings, a bunch of other trades, and then Derrick Jones Jr. still could have walked for nothing. I think it's very smart that Nico Harrison had a backup plan. Right when Derrick Jones Jr. wanted to switch over to Clutch, okay, cool, I got a backup in case y'all want to play hardball, because even though Nico did say that Derrick Jones Jr. is priority 1A and 1B, that's not the only move he had in store. The Clay deal could have been discussed before the finals even ended, where Nico Harrison already knew who he wanted to go after. So obviously getting Derrick Jones Jr. to come back was a priority, but that wasn't the only thing. Getting Klay Thompson was important, and if Derrick Jones Jr. signed the 3-year, $27 million, we could then do the sign and trade for Klay Thompson, and the team looks good. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. But was Derrick Jones Jr. leaving really that harmful to the Dallas Mavericks? If we take a look at his stats from last season, it shows that he averaged 8.6 points, 3.3 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.7 blocks, 0.7 steals, 0.9 turnovers, and 1.6 fouls per game, while shooting 48% from the floor, 34% from 3. He shoots 34% on corner threes, 98% of his threes are assisted, and 48% of all shots are threes. So just looking at the numbers, you probably don't think he really impacted this team a lot, but I'd argue in the defense of Derrick Jones Jr., he did a lot of things for us that was great. Starting the season, he came off the bench, and he was just a great addition to our bench, to our depth, to help this second unit with his defense. His three-point shot very much improved this season, just through the roof, well above his career average. It became a strong asset, a strong role player off the bench. And like I said in the intro, once when Josh Green was hurt, he quickly went to the starting lineup, where some people are like, you're kind of punching up. You're not ready for this. But Jason Kidd trusted him. We kept him in the starting lineup, and he improved and showed everybody exactly what he can do as a starter. And like everyone says, he's our best point of attack defender. And losing Derrick Jones Jr., in my opinion, doesn't hurt the Dallas Mavericks as bad as a lot of people are saying, because we're getting a few dogs back. Najee Marshall fears no man. If you think PJ Washington's going to stand on business, Najee Marshall's going to stand right next to him, posted up, ready to stand on business, ready to guard whoever. You can put Najee on the other team's best defender. I'm sorry, the best player on the other team. Not saying Najee Marshall's going to lock him down and hold him to 0 points, but that's the type of player that we have in Najee Marshall. And Quentin Grimes as well is a very tenacious defender, isn't afraid of any defensive assignment. So I'd argue getting those two guys back, and all you have to give up was Tim Hardaway Jr., who is an inconsistent three-point shooter and a below-average defender. Josh Green, we love Josh Green. It hurts me to see him go. I always called him Josh Hustle Man Green because he provided a lot of hustle, but on defense, he always committed just very odd fouls and some boneheaded plays. But to only have to give that up and you get all these players back, you sign Najee Marshall, you trade for Quentin Grimes, you get Klay Thompson, that's a plus for the Dallas Mavericks. But if we take a closer look at Derrick Jones Jr., this right here, it kind of paints the picture. Because again, a lot of people are saying that our defense is going to drop drastically because we didn't bring him back. But if we want to look at just the numbers, Derrick Jones Jr., before the trade deadline, he played 47 games while averaging 27 minutes per game. His defensive rating was 117.1. Post-trade deadline, he played 29 games, 20 minutes per game, and his defensive rating increased to 102.1. A great defender, but it wasn't until we got better personnel and reduced his role that he thrived. A tad more replaceable than we might think. So that right there shows you. And we didn't really do anything too crazy at the trade deadline. We got rid of Rashawn Holmes, Seth Curry, and Grant Williams, but we got back PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. And our teams, not even just their defense, the team's defense improved. Everyone's defense got better. People got more defined roles. The defense looked a lot cleaner. The rotations made sense. So to say that Derrick Jones Jr. leaving hurts us, well, his defense really got better after the trade deadline. You can argue that his increase in defense was in part to the team's defense increasing as well. But not only that, of course, in respect to Derrick Jones Jr., I'll throw this up because he is a great defender. I don't want to take anything from him. He earned his money, like I said. But looking at this right here, taking the toughest assignments, percentage of a player's on-ball defensive time spent matched up with an opponent's scoring ball handler during the 2023-2024 regular season. And at the top of that list is Derrick Jones Jr., who spent 54% of his time defending the opponent's scoring ball handler. So yes, do we have anybody else on this list on the team to replace him? No, we don't have a Lou Dort, a OG, a KCP, a Jalen Suggs, or Jay McDaniels. We don't have any of those guys. But let's not think that we're without anything, because I'd argue that Derrick Jones Jr., if he wasn't on the Dallas Mavericks, he may not even be on this list if he did choose to go to Boston. So having Quentin Grimes, having Najee Marshall, we can turn them into a Derrick Jones Jr. I've always believed, and when I played basketball, I was always told, you can be taught defense, but you can't be made to play defense. The number one thing that goes into being a good defender is effort. So if we can get guys like Quentin Grimes and Najee Marshall to come to the Dallas Mavericks, buy into our system, and just put that effort on defense and learn our defensive sets, learn the rotations, learn what to see, they can then become great point of attack defenders. I'd argue it's harder to get someone to fix their shot and become a more efficient scorer or shooter than it is to fix someone's defense, because it all comes from effort. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know down in the comment section down below. Do you truly believe that without Derrick Jones Jr., we're a worse defensive team, that we're going to suffer? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing a giveaway on this channel. We'll announce the winners this weekend. I'll put out a post with the time and date when we announce the winner. But make sure you tune in so you don't miss out in case you're one of the lucky winners. But until next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.